Hey, how's it going, guys? It's the Llamaser here, and welcome back to another Rocket League video. And in this one, guys, we are going to be talking about a lot of awesome stuff that has to do with trading, but more specifically, stuff about the new Player's Choice crate, such as a trick with this crate in order to get more painted exotics, and also a guy that has earned 4 frickin' white hats. Or in other words, $12,000 worth of just 4 items. So yeah, guys, definitely a ton to talk about, and I really think you guys will enjoy this one, and it's just going to be a ton of fun. I love talking about these trading type stories and stuff like that just because I myself enjoy trading like crazy, and overall these are just some of the craziest stories out there. But anyways, guys, as always, if you enjoyed today's video or learned something new, be sure to leave a like down below, and this time let's try and get like 3,000 likes. That would be absolutely crazy and would definitely make my day. But other than that, guys, enough time talking here and let's get into it. Alright, guys, so starting off with the Player's Choice crate, and then later in the video we'll get into all the stuff that has to do with the white hats. But first of all, there's some important stuff that we want to talk about here, including something that will be pretty good for getting painted exotics out of this crate. But to start off, if you haven't heard yet, the Player's Choice crate is coming out in a few days on the 21st, and I'm not exactly sure what time it's coming out. I'd assume it's going to be around 5 o'clock Eastern time because that's usually when they go up. But yeah, it's coming out on the 21st as well as the Hot Wheels cars, and I've actually kind of changed my mind on this crate and am super excited for it. Now, at first, when I heard that they were adding in zombas and lightnings into a single crate, I was not quite sure I liked that. In fact, I was pretty unhappy at first because I thought just by having these wheels together that it would drop a ton more of these wheels, which then would mean that they sort of lose value a bit. However, I've just been talking with my friends and thinking about this, and I'm not exactly sure that these wheels will be dropping as much as people think they will. Now, this one is actually like this weird brain teaser that you kind of keep going back and forth on, so honestly, it's just kind of a really fun one to think about. But basically, I was trying to figure out, do you really have a better chance of getting these items in this Player's Choice crate? Because so far as we know, the chance of getting exotic wheels is not increased at all, so it's probably going to be the same exact percentages that we've seen in previous crates. And this is what just got me thinking. If it's the same exact percentages, like say you're trying to get lightning wheels out of a crate, you could either go and try and get it out of a C2, which of course you have that 2% chance of getting that specific exotic wheel, with 4% just being any exotic. But then with this Player's Choice crate, as far as we know, those percentages are still the same. So you still have a 2% chance of getting lightning wheels, but then you also have the 2% chance of getting zombas as well. So do you truly have a better chance of getting these wheels out of this Player's Choice crate? Because again, if you were trying to get lightning wheels out of a C2, you would have a 2% chance of getting them, and then if you're trying to get them out of the Player's Choice crate, you would again have that same exact 2% chance of getting those lightning wheels. So at first, it seems to be like you don't really have a better chance of getting them. However, this is kind of where it gets super confusing, because technically you do have a better chance of getting wheels, but it's not exactly the way you think. Both of these wheels, the zombas and the lightnings, are of course going to drop at the same rate they did with other crates, but you have to look at the chances together. Because again, say you're going for lightnings out of the C2, you also have that chance of getting the other wheel, which is kind of useless, or at least it's not even close to being as valuable as the lightning wheels. So with that being said, you kind of look at it as just a 2% chance of getting a good item, instead of course is the 4% chance, which it technically is, of getting an exotic wheel. Now when you move to this Player's Choice crate, just by having 2 high tier items, the lightnings and the zombas, together in the same crate, together they do have a 4% chance of getting you a high tier item. So yeah, technically you do have a higher chance of getting these items, but not specifically. Like, you don't really have a higher chance of getting lightnings, but you do have a better chance of getting lightnings or zombas, if that makes any sense. But anyways, this is not the only thing that affects these crates, and there's actually a really big change within the Player's Choice crate that is going to make these wheels drop significantly more, or at least just a bit more. But starting off with the first thing, you simply have that initial rush of people that are going to open these crates. Now, we've experienced this with every single crate in the past. As soon as they come out, people get super excited for them, as they should be, and they open up tons of them, and so a bunch of items get started to move around. Now with this Player's Choice crate, suddenly we're doubling up the amount of crates that people are going to open that include these higher tier items. So with that being said, there's definitely a good chance that a lot more of these are going to drop, which, you know, some people think that's unfortunate. I'm kind of excited for it because I do want to start collecting these painted painted lightnings and painted zombas. But that is not the only thing that is going to make these wheels drop like crazy, and this is something that I am honestly super excited for, and these are the trade-ups for this crate. Yeah, the trade-ups with the Player's Choice crate are going to be absolutely insane. Like, these trade-ups are going to be trade-ups on freaking steroids. And the reason for this is because so far as we know, this crate is not going to have any rare decals. Now, what that essentially means is you cut out the biggest portion of items that drop that you use to get trade-ups. So take one of my previous crate openings, for example. When I unboxed 30 C4s, I had some pretty bad luck and ended up getting 23 rare decals. Now, that's probably a little bit more than what you usually get, but still, just by how the crates are designed, you're meant to get a bunch of these rare decals. However, all of a sudden with this new crate, all of those rare decals are gone, and you suddenly skip that entire tier of trading up. So this time around, if I were to open up 30 Player's Choice crates and happen to get like 23 or so very rare decals instead of just rare, that would mean that I can immediately trade those up to imports and then trade those imports up to possible painted exotics. Now, it's not going to increase things by a ton, but it is going to make getting to those trade ups a lot easier, which of course means that these wheels are going to drop even more. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that just because it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think you guys can also look forward to some trade up videos in the near future. But anyways, enough time talking about the Player's Choice crate. I think we've hyped it up enough over these past videos. So yeah, moving on here, let's talk about a guy that by himself earned 4 white hats. That is right, he earned 4 of the most rare items in the game, and that means that he's earned about $12,000 in these items. So definitely just insane. But before we get into it, if you don't know what the white hat is, it is basically a super rare item. In fact, I believe that less than 10 of them exist on Rocket League as a whole. And the way that this item is given out is it's awarded by Psyonix to people that find a significant glitch or bug in the game. And by significant, I mean things that have to do with like security, changing people's ranks, stuff like that. That isn't just your normal little glitch. Now, of course, being that this item is so rare, they have come up to trade every once in a while. And the main price that they're put at is 3,000 keys or $3,000. So yeah, there's your little backstory on the white hat topper. But let's get into how this guy who goes by the name of Cat Exception earned 4 of them all by himself. So this guy posted on Reddit a while ago of his exact experiences with Psyonix and specifically what glitches he found in order to get each of these hats. So starting off the story he posted, he initially didn't try to find these glitches to get a white hat because at the time the white hats didn't exist. So he was just basically messing around for fun trying to find glitches in the game, and he actually found a bunch of them. So back around March of 2016, almost a year ago, a guy by the name of Durkin contacted him, or in other words, the sort of community relations manager of Psyonix. He basically talks to the community and relays issues that they're having to developers. But what's weird is that Durkin actually reached out to this guy because they noticed that he was having some really weird logs with his game. So at first they just thought he was having some weird glitches, like he didn't know what was going on, but he soon just told them that he was messing around with the game and trying to just discover glitches for fun. Now then, the people at Psyonix were of course really thankful for him bringing to attention these glitches, and eventually through a future patch, the white hats came into the game, and he initially got 1, but eventually made his way to 4 of them. But anyways, getting into the glitches he found with the first one here, this one was an MMR exploit that essentially let him get matched up with any rank of player he wanted. So basically the main sort of use or way this could be abused is by going into ranked matches and changing your perceived MMR so that you could be a grand champion and get put against Prospect 1 players. So this could essentially lead to you glitching your way all the way to grand champion without anybody really noticing because they thought it would just kind of be a matchmaking glitch. So even though this does sometimes happen by accident, he was able to find a way to do it over and over again, and so of course he got a white hat for that one. As for the second one, and this one is probably the most significant out of all of them, this one had to do with SQL injection, or in other words, it allowed him to have access to personal data of every single Rocket League player. Now of course he didn't abuse this one, he just kind of tested it and made sure it was possible, but if this weakness in the system were to get out, from my understanding, it could have led to things like possibly even credit cards getting out there. So yeah, definitely a very big glitch there that really deserves a white hat. But anyways, moving on to the third one, this one is kind of the same as the first. It was just another MMR exploit, but with a different method. So yeah, nothing really extra to talk about there. But as for the fourth one here, this one is really quite interesting because this glitch allowed him to get a party into solo standard. Now this one is just plain cruel. We already have enough problems in solo standard. We do not need to be partied up with random people, and then see on the other team a party of people that can actually talk to each other. So definitely a very insane glitch. But anyways, those are not the only glitches that he found. He did find some other smaller ones here that didn't get him a white hat, but they're still kind of interesting to look at. So the first one is being able to change people's names on the global leaderboard, and everybody would be able to see this. So with this little glitch, you could go in and change anybody's name, even Chronovi on the leaderboards, and make it your name or just something weird, and it wouldn't reset until that original person restarted their game. As for the second one, this one was a little confusing. He says that he was able to change rankings on the leaderboards, but I think this one reset as well because that would actually be a fairly severe glitch. So I think it was kind of similar to the first one. You would be able to change the value, but as soon as you reset, it would kind of reset the rank. As for the third one, he was able to start the game and get into the test or beta environments with all the test leaderboards and that random stuff that they use to make sure the game is working. So all of those checkerboard stuff and things like that, he was able to get into that somehow. Now the fourth one was other multiple exploits with MMR and stuff like that. He doesn't go into much detail there, but that is the end of the glitches that he found. So I don't know about you, but I'd say that this guy is definitely a hacker and really quite deserving of 4 white hats. Now one other thing that he did say, and I think this is pretty important, is that every single white hat, and again we're not quite sure on the official number of them because they're not really announced, but he was able to confirm with Durkin that every single white hat out there is currently on PC. So with that being said, if somebody claims to have them on consoles, they are completely lying and do not fall for any scams or stuff like that. But you know, this kind of makes me want to find a glitch in Rocket League. I don't really know how I would do it, but it would be so freaking sick to be able to get a white hat just because it is the most insane item you could ever want in your collection. But anyways guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to leave a like down below. It only takes a second and it helps me out a ton, and do not forget to check out the previous videos of mine which should be popping up now, including a 250k thank you setup tour of mine, and also the third montage of the best pro goals ever. But other than that guys, again, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm the Llama Sir, and I will see you guys next time.